everybody.
Morning.
I want to thank Mary Jo and Danny for helping serve on this committee. I think we've got you a good slate put together. We're going to nominate like Jane Syfe.
No.
Oh, darn it.
Kevin?
I had this in my head. I sure did. Let's start with Danielle Burton, Nikki Pearl. I've left my notes over there. I'm so sorry.
Go grab them.
Thank you. Karen Bain, Sandra Williams, and as a new member, Lonnie Swafford. And I think several of you have gotten a chance to talk to Lonnie and meet him over this weekend. And I think you'll all agree he's a good fella. So that's my report.
All righty. We will take these alphabetically in no particular rhyme or reason, just other than alphabetical. No one's any really more important than the other. All right. We will ask for nominations from the floor. If there are nominees from the floor, we do have a system of balloting that we will discuss if needed. So, first. Yeah, okay, Kevin, would you?
I forgot Angela Henderson. So sorry.
I wasn't gonna forget
I
it.
know you were.
Yeah, okay, first nominee, Danielle Burton. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations?
I move nomination cease and that we elect Danielle Burton in the point of board member faculty.
Motion's been made and seconded that we elect Danielle Burton by acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Congratulations, Danielle. There'll be another check in the mail.
That's a blank check.
Okay.
No, I mean, you can't do anything to it.
Second position, again in alphabetical order, Angela Henderson. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations?
I move that nomination cease and Angela be elected as board member by acclamation.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded that we elect Angela Henderson by acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Next for board position 3, the nominating committee has placed the name of Karen Main in nomination. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations?
I move the nominations
The motion has been made and seconded that we elect Karen by acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations. You have now been elected to the board of directors once again. Yeah. Position 4, the committee has placed in nomination the name of Nikki Pearl. All those in, okay, are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations?
I move the nomination.
Well, I gotta do it one more time.
Oh,
Yeah. Are there any further nominations?
Okay,
Go,
I
Bill.
move the nomination.
Motion has been made and seconded that we elect Nikki Pearl by acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, let's see. STUVW. Swafford, I'm just being silly. As we've talked about with the passing of our beloved member and friend George Stokes, we had a vacancy on the board this year. The nominating committee has placed the name of Lonnie Swafford to stand for election. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations?
I move that nominations cease and Lonnie Swafford be elected as board member by acclamation.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded that we elect Lonnie Swafford by acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, in board position 6, the committee has placed the name of Sandra Williams in nomination. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations?
I move nomination cease and we elect Sandra as board member number 6 by acclamation.
The motion has been made and seconded, but that we elect Sandra by acclamation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, y'all don't know, boy, I'm so, woo, that's so refreshing.
We've been there before, haven't we?
Yeah, we've been there before, we have. Well, thank you all, and I know this
About a big
is,
hand.
yeah, the new board, or the new board. Also, we have to vote on the proposed changes to our state constitution so that we are in compliance with our national organization. So Todd Stevens is chair of this committee, and I welcome you to the microphone.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Phil Seif and Renell Mackey for working with me to get everything in order. This is really just a matter of housekeeping. We need to make sure that we are compliant with national, so we need to move our membership roster, make sure that the membership roster and dues are submitted to national by January 1st, and what we have now is August 1st, so we just need to make sure that we are in line with that. We're going to have Renell read the changes and then read the Constitution. We're going to read that in its entirety so that everybody can see what the Constitution actually says. I doubt that many of us have actually taken the time to read it from beginning to end. So we'll go through that in its entirety.
Way down. Okay. The proposed changes to the NFB Kentucky State Constitution are required to be compliant with the NFB National Constitution, specifically regarding the date that dues are due to the national organization. That date must reflect January 1. In the current NFB Kentucky Constitution, that date is reflected as August 1. In addition, under Article 3, Section 1, active members, please note Section 3, which has been added to the NFB Kentucky State Constitution. Number 3, dues must be received no later than 60 days from the date of the scheduled state convention to vote. Serve on committees, speak on the floor, hold office, and qualify for membership pricing during the annual state convention. Please review and please notify only if you have an issue with the amendments. Only the comments from members of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky will be recognized. So, full Constitution with amendments. National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky Constitution with amendments approved by the convention assembled September 26, 2015, incorporated. Article 1, name. The name of this organization shall be the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky. Article 2, purpose. The purpose of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky shall be to advance the general welfare of the blind of Kentucky and the nation, to function as an integral part of the National Federation of the Blind, to serve as a vehicle for collective action by the blind of Kentucky, to operate as the mechanism through which the blind and interested sighted persons can come together in local chapters and state meetings to plan and carry out programs to improve the quality of life of the blind, to provide a means of collective action for parents and children, to forward the interests of blind students and provide them with a means of joint action and expression, to promote the vocational, cultural, and social advancement of the blind, to achieve the integration of the blind into society on a basis of equality with the sighted, and to take any other action which will improve the overall condition of standard of living of the blind. Article 3, membership, Section 1. Active members, at least a majority of the active members of this organization must be blind. Active membership shall have two classifications. Active members who are associated with the local chapters or division, and active members at large who are not affiliated with a local chapter or division. Number 1. All active members of local chapters and divisions shall become an active member of this organization when their name is on a membership list of any chapter or division received by the president of this organization by the first day of January each year. Serve on committees, speak on the floor, and hold office. Number 2, any person who is not affiliated with a local chapter or division may become an active member of this organization by requesting membership at large and remitting his or her dues to the president of this organization by the first day of January each year, and complying with requirements established by the board of directors. Number 3, dues must be received by no later than 60 days from the date of the scheduled state convention to vote, serve on committees, speak on the floor, hold office, and qualify for membership pricing during the annual state convention. Section 2, disciplinary action. Any member may be expelled for violation of this Constitution or for conduct unbecoming a member of this organization by a majority vote of the active members present and voting at the convention, or a 2/3 vote of the board of directors. The state convention may reinstate any person who has been expelled unless such expulsion has been confirmed by the National Convention or by the Board of Directors of the National Federation of the Blind, in which event the person may not be reinstated except by the National Board. Any person who believes that he or she has been unjustly disciplined or expelled from this organization may appeal to the Board of Directors of the National Federation of the Blind, which may, in its discretion, consider the matter and make a binding decision. Article 4, local chapters, Section 1. Organization. Any organized group desiring to become a local chapter of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky shall apply for affiliation by submitting to the President of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky a copy of its Constitution and a list of names and addresses of its members and elected officers. When the convention or board of directors shall have approved the application It shall issue to the local chapter a certificate of acceptance annually on or before January 1st. Each local chapter shall provide to the treasurer of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky a current list of its members and it states dues of $1 per active member. Each local chapter on or before January the 1st shall also provide the state president with a list of the names and addresses of its members and with a detailed financial report for the past year. A majority of the voting members of each local chapter must be blind. The president, vice presidents, and at least a majority of the board of directors of the local chapter must be blind. The president of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky shall be an ex officio member of each local chapter. Section 2, dissolution. In the event of dissolution of a local chapter, or if, for whatever reason, the local chapter ceases to be a part of this organization, its assets shall become the property of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky. The National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky shall hold these assets in escrow for 2 years, to be returned at any time during this period to a reinstated local chapter. If at the end of that period, said chapter is still dissolved for whatever reason, said funds shall become the property of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky, and the local chapter shall forthwith cease to use the name National Federation of the Blind, Federation of the Blind, or any variant thereof. Section 3, expulsion of chapters. Any local chapter may be expelled for misconduct or violation of this Constitution by a 2/3 vote of the members present and voting at the annual convention of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky, or by unanimous vote of the Board of Directors. The state convention may reinstate any chapter which has been expelled by a 2/3 majority vote of those members present and voting. Any chapter believing that it has been unjustly expelled may appeal to the Board of Directors of the National Federation of the Blind, in which may, at its discretion, consider the matter and make a binding decision. Article 4, divisions. The Board of Directors shall establish procedures for admission of a division and shall determine the structure of a division. The division shall, with the approval of the board, adopt a constitution and determine its membership policies, which may not contradict the duties and privileges afforded to them in this Constitution or the National Constitution. Annually, on or before January 1st, each division shall provide to the treasurer of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky a current list of its members and it states dues of $1 per active member. Each division on or before January 1st shall provide the state president with a list of the names and addresses of its members and with a detailed financial report for the year. Article 6, officers and their duties. Section 1, officers and their duties. There shall be elected at the regular annual convention on even-numbered years a president, a first vice president, a second vice president, a secretary, and treasurer. The terms of these officers shall begin at the close of the convention at which they are elected and qualified. Officers shall serve for a 2-year term. Officers shall be elected by majority vote of the active members who are present and voting. There shall be no proxy voting. Each officer elected must receive a majority of the votes. The duties of each officer shall be those original or ordinarily associated with that office. Section 2, replacement of officers. Should the president, for any reason, be unable to complete his or her term of office, his or her duties shall be assumed by the first vice president. In turn, the second vice president would become the first vice president. Replacement of the second vice president, secretary, or treasurer shall be by appointment of the president with the approval of the board of directors. 7. Article 7, Board of Directors. The Board of Directors of this organization shall consist of 5 constitutional officers and 6 directors elected to a 2-year term at the annual conventions held in odd-numbered years. The board shall meet at the call of the president or on written call signed by any 2 board members. The board shall establish policies for the operation of the organization between conventions. A majority of the members of the board shall constitute a quorum. Article 8, meetings. Section 1, annual convention. This organization shall hold an annual convention, the time and place of which shall be fixed by the president with the approval of the board of directors. At least 15 active members must be present to constitute a quorum to transact business at any annual convention. Section 2, special meetings. The president or a majority of the board of directors of this organization may call a special meeting of the body at any time. At such special meeting, at least 15 active members must be present to constitute a quorum to transact business, and written notice must have been sent to the president of each local chapter and division and to the members of the board of directors at least 10 days prior to the date of the meeting. Business transacted shall be limited to those items for which such a meeting was called. Article 9, committees. The president may appoint such committees as he or she or the organization deems necessary. The president shall be an ex officio member of all committees. Article 10, affiliation. The National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky shall be an affiliate of the National Federation of the Blind and shall furnish to the president of the National Federation of the Blind annually, on or before January 1st, a list of names and addresses of its members and elected officers. A copy of the Constitution of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky and all amendments to the Constitution shall be sent to the president of the National Federation of the Blind without delay. The National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky shall not merely be a social organization, but shall formulate programs and actively work to promote the economic and social betterment of the blind. This organization, its chapters and divisions, shall comply with provisions of the Constitution of the National Federation of the Blind. Policy decisions of the National Federation of the Blind, whether made by the National Convention or the Board of Directors, are binding on this organization, its chapters, divisions, and members. And this organization, its chapters, division, and members shall participate affirmatively in carrying out such policy decisions. As a condition of affiliation, it is agreed by this organization that the National Federation of the Blind, whether the action of the National Convention or the National Board, has the power to expel or discipline an individual member and to expel or recognize a state affiliate, local chapter, or division. In the event of reorganization, the assets of the affiliate and local chapters and divisions belong to the reorganized affiliate. And for the former affiliate, its chapters and divisions shall dissolve and cease to exist. The name, National Federation of the Blind, Federation of the Blind, or any variant thereof, is the property of the National Federation of the Blind. And this organization or any of its chapters or divisions which cease to be a part of the National Federation of the Blind or whatever reason shall forfeit the right to use the name National Federation of the Blind, Federation of the Blind, or any variant thereof. The president of the National Federation of the Blind shall be an ex officio member of this organization and each of its local chapters and divisions. Article 11, disbursement of funds. The funds of this organization shall be deposited in a bank to be selected by the treasurer with the approval of the president. All financial obligations of this organization shall be discharged by check issued on written order of the president and signed by the treasurer. All disbursements shall be made in accordance with policies established by the board of directors. The financial year of this organization shall be the calendar year. The funds of the organization may be invested in any manner approved by two-thirds majority of the board of directors or a majority of those members present and voting at an annual convention or special meeting. Article 12, dissolution. In the event of dissolution of the National Federation of the Blind of Kentucky, or if it ceases to be an affiliate of the National Federation of the Blind, its assets shall be given to the National Federation of the Blind to be held in trust for a recognized affiliate in the state. In the event that no affiliate is organized in the state for a period of 2 years from the date this organization ceases to be an affiliate of the National Federation of the Blind, the assets shall become the property of the National Federation of the Blind. Article 13, amendments. This Constitution may be amended at any annual convention of this organization by a two-thirds vote of the active members present and voting. All proposed amendments must be submitted in writing to the president of this organization at least 60 days prior to the convention. The president shall inform the membership of the substance and nature of such proposals at least 15 days prior to the convention. Amendments adopted shall be incorporated into the Constitution. The Constitution as amended shall be made available to all members. Amen.
Thank you, Renell.
Got a water?
That's several.
Now or now, you might have to read resolutions next year if I can't get filled in.
Sure.
Thank you, Renell. We really appreciate that. Is there a motion to accept the Constitution with the changes made?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I have a question, just for clarification.
Yes.
So does that mean each chapter will take up dues before January 1st, 2020?
It needs to be to Kathy by January 1st.
Of next year?
Of 2020?
Yes.
2020?
Yes.
Or of 2021?
No.
When does this take effect?
Effect immediately.
Immediately?
Yes.
So you need everything by January 1?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, just want to be clear. Thank you.
So that doesn't count what we did.
What we did
This year.
No, it does not.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, I've got all that.
I'll take care of that.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Come on, Mr. Lovely. Okay. I want to thank all the committees. How many door prizes we got left? I guess, let's do door prizes.
Just give one to Todd. He's a very sad man.
I haven't won a
He's
door
never
prize
won one,
in
not
6
in
years.
6 years. I think somebody should give him a door prize.
This is a garden stake, it's a solar powered and it's got a pellet. There you go, Tom. Cindy.
Not here.
This is for the general fund.
Yes.
I got mixed up, sorry.
Faye Wilson.
Not here.
Not here.
We're going to finish up with the reverse raffle, the crowning glory
Donnie
of it.
Peters.
Not here.
Not here.
He's in the hotel room, not here.
No, it's not.
How many door prizes you got left?
6.
6. Yay! Okay. All right. Is there any new business that members would like to bring to the convention floor?
Yes, Kathy, I would just like to make a comment. You know, I got really good feedback from Dave and Joe from APH, and they actually said that this is the and they do a lot of travel, a lot of presentations. They say that this tops, this made their day, and they love this. They love NFB Kentucky, and they love working with us.
Yay. That's good. Yeah. Okay.
Kathy?
Yes.
Vicky Merle?
Yes.
I'm probably gonna regret opening my mouth about this, but it occurs to me as you have to go through the 3 requests for other nominations from the floor. Many years ago that we did that, and it was a policy because, I think we put it in bylaws, if I remember correctly, because a lot of times at the national level they were doing that. But it's not constitutional, and I'm just wondering whether the board may want to explore making it a 2 request instead of a 3 request. It just, 3 seems excessive. It's minor, but.
If I can give you a
I also have to
comment,
stand
if
in
I
front
can
of
give
this
you a
group.
comment on Robert's Rules of Order says 3.
I know.
And, well, we're in Robert's rules, so. I know.
Who the heck is Robert?
Robert's
Is he a member?
Yeah, he can't make any. Yeah, and Becky, and to your point, we do the 3 because that's what they do on national.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, exactly. And it is in Robert's rules, so they tell me. Okay, how many door prizes we got left, did you say? 5. Okay, well, we'll, all right, we've got since we have no further new business or anything. All right, but let me real quick, let's draw for a couple more door prizes, then we'll start drawing reverse raffles, then we'll do some door prizes. Yep.
2 more, she said, I think,
All right.
a couple more.
Treat bag, we got a UK all cap, and a Starbucks gift card.
Joshua Barnett.
Not here.
Not here.
Big Blue.
Amy's gone, Amy Burris. Oh, she's a UK head, that's what she needs in Nebraska.
Who?
Buster May.
Buster. Oh, Buster. All right, we'll start drawing, for some reverse raffles. We will finish up this morning. Sorry?
I'm just curious, how many more reverse raffles?
23, I think, yeah. All right, Sally, jump.
By the way, Todd is picking these out. I'm not picking them out, so if you don't win, don't come to me.
Todd's got a grudge too, because he never gets his name.
Dennis Brothers.
Oh, there's your relative.
Yes, Glenn, oh, I'm sorry, Lynn Florence.
Oh, love her.
Yeah. Yeah, Thomas Head. Kathy Jackson. All right, Fred Schroeder. Ted. Kevin Pearl. Joe Ruffalo. Killian Maine. I'll tell you, Killian and Jensen just no love. Like Freeholm. Mike Freeholm, that's the luck of the draw, I guess, or not so luck of the draw.
Was that two?
Yes, two. Rebecca Merle. Another Mike Freeholm. I remember your video Oh, Ben Dial. Danielle Burton.
Dang it.
Beth Franklin. Melanie Pesco. Beth Franklin. Kathy Jackson. He just hands me mine. Uh-huh.
This is 220.
All right, this is number 220. Woo, getting close. You know, we're thinking if we decide to keep this fundraiser next year, we're thinking about trying to put a new wrinkle or two in it to make it a little bit more exciting. Maybe adding some prizes and doing some things a little bit different. Oh my gosh, Becky Merle. Okay.
Let's just leave last year.
All right. Oh, so we got two. All right. Mike Freeholm. All right, then just hang on. Oh, okay.
This is,
all right.
we should have, this one and one more. This is 222.
All right, this is Jensen, Maine. Oh my God. All right, now what? Yeah, Misty Dunham, D-U-N-H-A-M. All right, let's go. All right, we've got two left. We're going to finish up door prizes. We're going to keep you in here as long as we can.
Door prizes or finish them to
Finish up the door prizes, please.
Tea bag, and then we've got, I don't think it's a Turtis, but it's like the Turtis mugs, or about a 32-ounce,
Oh, yeah?
cup. And it's got a fleur-de-lis on it.
She's not in the room. Oh, sad, right?
Oh, there you go.
Is she here?
Yep.
Why isn't it working for us, Todd? She says say her name and they say it.
Next, we have a 50-inch by 60-inch blanket. It's on one side, Sherpa on the other.
Well, I swear, asking you shall receive.
Please line on one side and shirt on the other.
leaks on one side and shipment on the other.
Okay.
Not me, I haven't won anything. It's all them.
You probably,
I'm the only one in my family who has not won something.
Is that it?
last but not least, treat bag and $25 gift card to Cracker Barrel.
Ooh, I'll take that.
Gina, okay.
I want to make a suggestion for next year. Let's not put the names back in until the end of the day.
Do what?
No, seriously. I mean, we're too small. We're too small. Yeah. They put the names back in the basket. Let's do that at the end of the day.
We're much smaller than that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Oh, because several people went too.
I know, and usually what we've done in the past.
Yes, I am.
No, and it's, and probably, again, it's probably my fault for not really, talking about door prizes that much, but typically what we have done in the past is what we do is we draw them out and then put them all back in at banquet so everybody has a chance again. And then I guess because this is Sunday morning and we've never done a Sunday morning, we didn't really have a suggestion or policy, but we will talk about that. I mean, we are small, I get it, and but since we have Sunday morning session, we just didn't address the situation, and that's my bad. Okay. This is for the $250.
And I know both of these names because I have them both in my hand, so I'm the only
Oh, he's
person
the
that
only
knows.
one that knows.
And the second prize winner is
Oh, Sandra Williams.
Yay! Congratulations, Sandra.
That'll say that the checks are made.
Cortina.
SCHATTER.
I'm spelling it wrong. Bo Mullen
just wrote
sold it.
remember.
It was Cortina.
That's me.
Cortina.
I'll be Cortina for $500.
I think it's SUH something. Anyway, she wins $500 and Bo Mullen sold it.
Courtney Schuster as
Oh.
the counselor.
Oh, Schuster.
Yeah.
Oh.
SCHUSTER.
Schuster.
Well, way to go. Congratulations.
She's the counselor.
Oh, okay, good. Well, this concludes our convention, but I have to tell you from the bottom of my heart how much I appreciate all the hard work that goes into planning one of these things. I couldn't do it without you all. I mean, there are people that working tirelessly for the last 3 or 4 months. If I start naming names, I'd leave somebody out for sure. But people that work behind the scenes, and you might just think they're roaming around, but they're actually doing things and running errands for me, and just, I don't know, I can't say enough. And I'm so excited that we had the parents here this year, and they brought their families, and
Ring the bells next year so we can ring them every time we
That's
yell
what we
your bell.
need to, yeah. And, it was a pleasure having your kiddos at Bell and then having them in our child care. Gosh, all of you, I can't say enough. And when I walk away from this mic, I'm going to say, I wish I had said that. I wish I had said that. But it's, I think, been a very good convention with the new expanded core curriculum. And I'm sure, things will come together next year, and we'll sit back and evaluate and summarize, and so If there's no further business, this concludes, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made and seconded that we adjourn. Meeting adjourned, and thank you all again.